Indiana Hoosiers live 53, back live, back with Brad. My voice is not back, but yeah,
That's
we're here.
still struggling just like it was Sunday morning, Keys.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, so I'll be eating the microphone again. But yeah, it's what a weekend we had. We're gonna cram a lot into this show. It's gonna be we don't like doing this, we don't love doing this, but it's gonna be a little bit of a UCLA recap. Brad and I'll go back and forth, talk about the weekend. We had an awesome weekend. Saw a bunch of people. Um, just like had a hell of a time in Bloomington. Talk about the game, obviously, give some helmet stickers, and then we had a bunch of smoke. And we got the Maryland Terrapins coming up this weekend. Top 10 in turnover ratio, elite defense. The Baltimore Ravens linebacker coordinator is gonna be out there playing for them this week, according to Signetti, and we're just gonna get after it. So I guess I'll start there, Brad. How do you feeling after the weekend we had?
Feeling good. I think it was a good idea not to do the recap on Monday, just considering where your voice is at right now. Holy crap, man. Imagine if you had to do back-to-back shows. Oh my
I recorded a video last night. It was even worse last night.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be
I'm gonna try and lean on you to do most of the talking, which is not
yeah.
how this show works. So
Yeah, no, it's a lot of pressure on me. I'm taking a stride as my Dodgers are on. Had a grinder last night, 2 a.m.
dude.
Walk
Yeah,
off
that's why I
home.
recorded so late, because I was holding out hope that Brad would be able to. Yeah, come on, not fair. Also,
I,
definitely true though.
I
You
gave him one
saw
too
me
many shots,
after.
maybe.
You saw me late on Saturday. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, at the vid, you could have seen us at the vid. Keezer was in a spot. He was in a spot. He was thinking, he was.
I said Bloomington got the best of me. And full. It is what it is. But we had a hell of a time. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it was a fantastic week. I get the message. I need to talk a lot more. I need to spew. I need to go into spew mode today. I need to step up to the plate and really just get after it, like Otani would or Freddie Freeman.
it wasn't
And
what Goom did to me, Fat Boy. It was what you did to me.
it was a fantastic weekend. It was great to see the new Indiana in the sense of the game day environment. We were out there early. We got to see the walk. I've never seen the walk before. Did we do that before, Signetti? I think we did.
No, because the Rock was inside the stadium.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that was really cool to see that for the first time with the band kind of opening everything up and doing that. Getting to see that with Fat Boy and our buddy Max. It was a good time. Fernando looked super locked in as he was throughout the game.
John buried us under a table too. Hell of a time seeing John too. Like it's like a pass off. John closed Knicks with us.
Damn near.
Nice.
Sports. We were at sports at the time, actually. Or no, upstairs.
Yeah, dude. You want to talk about Friday night? Because I was so impressed with upstairs in the town. Like I was been saying this for the last couple of days. Like I don't know how you felt, Brad, but to me that felt like as good as any Little Five weekend in terms of buzz, in terms of people around, and like Friday night was beautiful. Friday night was like high 60s. Like it was a perfect Bloomington day, and upstairs was buzzing before we even got in there.
Yeah, upstairs seems to be taking the crown jewel of top bar in Bloomington, so congrats to them. I was hearing buzz about it. I wasn't too sure, and then I got to that back area that used to be what that place used to be? It used to be like
Stacks or Recess.
Stacks or whatever. Yeah, Stacks or Recess or whatever you want to call it. And what they did to it, really impressive. I got to see my Dodgers lose game 1, 11-4 there, but it was all worth it. In the end, just a really great time to, catch up with some old buddies, make some new friends, and yeah, just overall like A+ weekend. And yeah, I don't think I got my ZNC, so I was really pumped about that. Maybe should have gotten it twice. Should have gotten it Friday night too, just so I was less hungry Saturday morning, and could have felt more like
eaten mine Saturday morning.
it was a bender. He did 9-hour shifts at Kirkwood on Friday, and then an 18-hour day. The next day plus, honestly, 18. And probably stayed up for 4 more hours after that. Fifth. Fucking I lost track. 22-hour day, basically at on Saturday, so not too bad. Yeah, electric weekend really, really lived up to the hype in terms of just like I wouldn't compare it to like Little Five because that was different, but it did seem like with Parents Weekend that weekend there was I didn't feel as old around going to the bar, so I think that was good. I think I'm gonna start figuring out when Parents Weekend is, and that's gonna be my new strategy for going to Bloomington
That's
weekend.
actually a really good point. I didn't
So
even
if
think
they
about
weren't
that.
there, I would have felt very, very old. And
I was about to say, I feel like we felt like we did a good job of not like being too like quote unquote college in a sense. We're like a very adult Bloomington weekend. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, very, very classy. Get your cheese and wine, get your tax returns, shit like that. You know,
Exactly.
yeah,
But no,
very, very
upstairs
adult.
was jumping. Kadik was there. I saw him. Got to like scream his name, dap him up. That was pretty cool. Dude, seeing Kadik in person was kind of jarring. Like I didn't realize how big he was. Like in terms of like height, weight, and he wears it well. But just like imagining that guy lining up in front of you in terms of offensive line, like, and you know how athletic he was with the ballet. So it was. He definitely helped Indiana's presence on the offensive line last year more so than I probably gave him credit for. So that was pretty cool to see in person.
Yeah, he was all 6'5".
And he's
Seeing
got
him.
a big presence too. He's just a
Even
happy guy.
Jackson
He's
was in
good vibes.
town. He was at a
I
lot of
saw
the
him.
bars I was at. So
Got to say hi
I
to
don't know
him
what that
too. That
means
was
for the
cool.
Knights, but
They had to
yeah,
be,
no,
or
it was
something they weren't by. Or
yeah,
if they
no,
weren't, we didn't see him.
yeah.
No, it's Saturday was incredible. And shout out to Hoosier Yonder who reached out and hooked us up with East Side Club tickets. Like that was absolutely unreal. That dude's an absolute legend. But like I was on the field pregame, like and the running backs were warming up in front of us. I saw Justice Ellison running towards us. I tweaked. I was like, Juice. He like looked at me, like smiled, whatever. They had like asked me to get off the barrier. They're like, who you guys with? I was like, I'm sorry. I've never seen this place like this. The stadium was full before the game started. Like it was a madhouse in there. Like it, being in the seat, and we had like sprint back to the seats to get there before kickoff. Oh my god, what an environment! What an environment!
Yeah, it was really cool to see with the towel waving, how to get involved. I wasn't much of a towel waver really ever. Didn't think I would get into it, but here I was. After it was
It
really
takes a
easy
lot of
after
effort.
opening game pick six. Opening second play of the game pick six. Really easy to get into it after that. Yeah, pretty elite environment. Did see some empty seats. I'm not gonna let Keyser out here gaslight you guys. It was definitely a sellout. But did see some empty seats. I think a couple people didn't make it.
I had a point to
And
make off of that because as much as I'm hyping up the environment and like the pregame stuff and the way the crowd was, which is awesome, there's room to grow. There is definitely room to grow, and that's the exciting part. That's the very exciting part. That place, it's hard to be loud and wave the towels. It takes a lot of effort to swing the towel. Like you don't think about it until you start doing it, and then you're like, "Wait, I'm kind of tired now."
yeah, like I got two pocket dogs. Like when am I gonna have a chance to eat these pocket dogs I got going on? So I was spilling. I was coming out of East Bank Club, didn't know how to act, and I just pocketed as many hot dogs as I could. I was just spilling hot dogs everywhere. Trying to get places, and now they're having me spin a towel. It's like, when am I gonna have a chance to eat this hot dog? Because the Hoosiers are out here making way too many plays
It's
for me to
first
even
world
have a chance
problems.
to breathe. But yeah, an unreal game. I think we should get into the game a little bit. Uh, yeah, about what we expected. It was like a really nice story. But yeah, they just ran UCLA just ran into a buzzsaw in terms of what is the number 2 Indiana Hoosiers right now. They look the part of, it's like 1A, 1B Ohio. So like very like getting away from the game, big picture, like it's very obvious the top 4 teams are Bama, A&M, Ohio State, and Indiana. I think it's going to be one of those 4 that gets it done in the end. Maybe Oregon wild card here. That game basically personified what Indiana football is at this point, which is they're a team that is going to run the ball. They're going to establish the run. They're always going to, that's going to be first things first. We're going to establish the run. We're going to get things going on the ground, and everything's going to build off itself. And behind that, we're going to play elite level defense, top 10 level. Basically, it's been like that since the jump. Signetti's gotten there. Personnel doesn't really seem to affect it all too much. Obviously, once you get to those higher level games, those weaknesses will become exemplified. right? And yeah, they're gonna run the ball and they're gonna play really good defense. Like that is what Indiana is at its core. What's nice is that this team is a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, which, as big Heisman Mendoza campaign advocates, honestly, I might even be, number one, being the first, kind of beat everyone to the punch.
That is your claim to fame.
Yeah, it is. It wasn't the most statistically appealing game of the Fernando Mendoza era, but if you were there, you would just know that the UCLA DBs, they played really well. UCLA actually played really well, for the most part, especially on defense. Offense, the O line was exactly what we expected. Swiss cheese for UCLA. Our D line was just way too overwhelming. I think you threw the stat at me: 34 dropbacks, 32 pressures, something like that. That is banana land when it comes to statistics. That's crazy. Nico was running for his life, and honestly, he was making do with what he had. You go away watching that game in person, you're like, okay, Nico could probably play
That
in
is
the NFL.
awesome.
I don't know if he's a starter, but he can probably play at the next level.
Yeah, he's got something to him for
Is
sure.
what you would take away from that. He had some crazy throws. Like nothing big, obviously, but just like some
No,
really
he was
nice
running
first
for his
downs.
life. Yeah, they all
Yeah.
resulted in like maybe a 12-yard gain at the most, but the dude was like tried to go left, tried to go right. Like there was a couple times where it was like you could see the athleticism.
Yeah. So like when we were on the defensive side of the ball, it was just way too overwhelming for him. Nico was making plays with what he had. The run game was non-existent for UCLA. They had, Nico just had to make do with what he had, and they were actually able to drive down for a couple field goals, but nothing more than that. And then on the offensive side of the ball, we were running the ball just fine. UCLA was playing really hard. They weren't missing tackles. They were playing really good, coverage, minus some, aggressive PI penalties that they're probably being coached up like, hey, let's get a little aggressive with these guys, and resulted in a couple of PIs, but they're willing to live with that. And it like they executed the game plan, but the difference is that Indiana is 50 points better than UCLA, and that's what showed, right? And that's just what Indiana is. Like this isn't some like flop, Cinderella story where they're just beating up on these teams trying to make it look good. Like no, I would say Indiana played average to slightly below average what their standard of play is, and then UCLA played great or good. They didn't play like great. The offensive side of the ball wasn't great, but they were executing their game plan, and it was just still a 50-point difference in the score, and it was it was really telling. It was a beautiful one to watch, especially my first time in Bloomington since Ohio State, Cincinnati in 2022, something like that, 2021. Pretty cool. Pretty great performance overall. From
The defense was unreal. The team speed we displayed, and obviously, I mean, you look at the teams they've beaten, you watch the team play on TV, and they're all over the place. But seeing it in person is just different. Like those linebackers are everywhere. And like for the little bit we saw Fish when he was held out for precautionary reasons, we got probable for this weekend. And honestly, I'd be a little surprised if he played. If you go back and watch the fake punt and watch him like jog off after the play, it looked like he was having trouble decelerating. I don't know if that's something that like lingers or what that type of deal was. Obviously, if he's going to be fine, he's going to play. But Hardy and Bones were everywhere. Those guys were everywhere. And Boykin had by far his best game of the year. The secondary was absolutely clamps. There was no threat. There was never a threat.
Yeah, it was just a team that was 50 points worse than the Hoosiers. Some on the defensive side of the ball, got to give my helmet stickers go to Tyreek Tucker and Devon Boykin. It felt like Tyreek Tucker had a sack every other play. Is kind of what it felt like watching it. He only had 1.5, but I guess it was 3 separate credited sacks where he had a share with someone. And then Devon Boykin, we didn't talk about him too much because you don't hear much about him, which probably means he's doing a great job at the rover spot, especially in coverage, which I think you don't see him rushing the quarterback too much. If he does, he usually gets picked up. He hasn't had his free shot at the quarterback yet, which is just good game planning by the other teams. But yeah, he definitely had, his best game by far statistically, getting that interception finally. And, it was really showing out. Like, he was everywhere that day, and I think is a real unsung hero. Like, we talked about this guy. He was one of the best defensive players on NC State defense 2 years ago that was sub 20 in points per game. Like, that defense, that Wolfpack defense was really good that year, and he was one of their best players. Out for all of last year with an injury, comes back for his 5th year with the Hoosiers, and once again surrounded by more dogs than he ever had at NC State. And go figure, he just kind of fits right into that model and has really found his role with the team. I mean, he didn't just find it; he had it already, but really making a name for himself at the game, I think, was really cool because I don't think we've talked enough about him in the sense that we haven't had to. There hasn't been a time where it's like, what is Devon Boykin doing there? And that's usually a really good sign from your DBs when you're able to do that. And obviously Tyree Tucker, that D-line with Wyatt out, Daly was awesome. They were absolutely wreaking havoc on that UCLA O-line that I was saying was going to be a big vulnerability for them, just in the sense that, just Jimmy's in the Joe sometimes. And, you can scheme some things up. And at the end of the day, Indiana's a buzzsaw, and UCLA is just not ready. They were the cute Cinderella story. Indiana is a bona fide national contender and will continue to be, hopefully till the end of time. But it's not realistic. So
I completely agree with you. I put Isaiah Jones in there too, helmet sticker wise. Daly, big time shout out to it. The entire cornerback or the defensive back room, like what do you want to say about Pons? He just got a Thorpe Award semifinalist announced today. Like, nothing was going on his side of the field. You try and go and attack Jamari Sharp on the other side. Nothing was going on over there. You just heaped a whole bunch of earned praise on Boykin. There was nothing over the middle. And then Amari Farrell and Lewis Moore were two of the highest graded safeties in the country this week, according to like that new PSN or whatever that new grading that's been going around. Like, and then like the second unit comes in, and like we see Byron Baldwin Jr. Getting like debuting, making plays. Like Hollywood Bell was out there, I think. Like Gandy was out there, and it's just like Jaja Boyd was laying the boom. Like, it's a deep room, man, and they have depth. And in these games, like having the ability to get these guys in, the backups and some of these freshmen and give them valuable experience. Like, you don't know when you're going to need these guys, and you hope that like your top line stays healthy and that you're just rolling with all your guns this year. But like, this is invaluable stuff. So yeah, go up as big as possible, get people who haven't played into the games, and let's see what you got. Cause there's a lot of dogs in there. Like the class of 2025, I was super impressed with.
Yeah, and I kind of had to remind Keezer a little bit that, with these, it's great seeing the young guys get in there and kind of seeing what they're about and what their kind of makeup, at least for me, kind of like what they look like on the field, size-wise, how they move, things like that. Just my eye test. They're taking my eye test for the first time, a lot of those guys. And it was just cool to kind of see them going around, like with since we're still talking about defense, like obviously Fisher got hurt. He seems to be probable. We were worried about Kamara coming off with the shoulder at one point, had to go to the locker room, but came back and actually played the rest of the game, which at first was like, okay, if they're taking out Fisher precautionary, because obviously they have Hardy and Jones behind them, why wouldn't they do that with Kamara? And it kind of makes me think like, they might not believe in Daniel Ndukwe play in and play out to kind of be what they need to be just yet.
I don't know. Or, you know what it tells me? It tells me that they were expecting Kamara's shoulder to pop out, and they just popped it back in, and he was fine. That's what that told me.
That's another take. That's another perspective for sure. Yeah, that's not bad. That's wrong with that.
If he's going to be able to play, because if he's just going to be able to play through the pain, and it is what it is, and he was fine with it, because he came back in, there wasn't any issues. Sig challenged him yesterday in the presser, said that he's got clearly has another level he can get to, and they're waiting to see it. So we'll see how he comes out this week.
For sure. But yeah, seeing like Ndukwe out there, he looked fast, he looked good, but obviously he's just young, and Sig doesn't really play underclassmen. He only plays.
No, he tries not to.
Especially this year's team. Some guys that really stuck out in my eye, most all in the DBs. Jalen Hollywood-Bell, Jaja Boyd, and Byron Baldwin all looked really good. But I'd really like to see some Zachary Smith. I don't know if that has any red shirt dependency tied to it. But would have been nice to see those guys. But number 16, Jaja Boyd. Number 2, Byron Baldwin. And who else was I thinking of? Jalen Hollywood-Bell, number 3, looked really good. Jalen Hollywood-Bell looked big. Too big for a freshman. He's gonna be something special.
He's a good player. He's a really good player.
But yeah, Baldwin and Jaja Boyd made some cooler plays. They're getting in there for tackles. Looks like Boyd is more of the safety type. Baldwin might be the rover next year, and then Hollywood-Bell is gonna be competing for cornerback snaps. But we'll see. It's already a pretty deep room there. But yeah, it was just really cool to see kind of all those things happening. And yeah, and defensively, like I'll throw in the Frankie injury wasn't great. He's questionable moving forward, so we'll go with Quinn Warren as the kickoff specialist.
Special teams player of the week.
Moving forward, he might even do the long kicks moving forward, but we'll see how that goes. We don't have to kick too much, which is great. So don't have to worry about it too much. But yeah, it's overall a great performance from the defense, and yeah, it was really impressed with some of the young guys I saw coming in there with the twos. Because they're still going up against the UCLA ones.
I was going to say Garrett Reese, who didn't get into the game, or at least not to my knowledge, was scout team player of the week. Coogan was offensive, and Boykin was defensive.
Makes sense. Yeah, we didn't talk about the offense too much.
And they put up 56 points, or they put up 49 points. But still, they were like, EJ had a monster day. And like, it was cool to see, like I said this yesterday, but he had the tweet last week where he was like, if I was a recruit nowadays, like Bloomington, Indiana is where I would want to be. And I'm from the South. And to see him get rewarded with a huge day. It was 8 catches, over 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. The one he caught like on the side of his head. It's not that Surratt and Coop, like, I don't. It's hard to tell, like, if they weren't getting open or what was going on there. But usually it was open all game, and then like they struggled to run the ball a little bit early. But like once the run game got going, like the holes were open. Like Hemby was awesome, Black was awesome. Both Mendozas were able to add scores on the ground. Watching the offensive line pass block was a treat. Like Carter Smith, I said this yesterday, and I think there's a better way to say it. I said, like, you wouldn't even know he was on the field. But it's like, you could have told me the guy lining up from Carter Smith didn't attempt to rush. Like, the guy, like, there might as well have not have been a person across from Carter Smith. There was just absolutely nothing going on 65 side. Like, they're just a really good, really impressive football team.
Yeah, what really jumped out to me was the run game, being able to attack, because those UCLA D linemen, they came out really aggressive, and they tried to hang for a little bit, and did stall the run for a quarter, almost a quarter. And yeah, they came out really aggressive, wanted to make some noise and make their sort of felt. Because that's the key to the game, and every game is trying to get matched with the trenches. But it just didn't matter. Over time, they just wore them down. Hemby had himself a nice game. Black was really the guy that got it going in the run, breaking out that big run early down the left sideline in the first quarter. But what really just stuck out was like that whole brand of the offense where it's like establish the run, everything builds off it. This team scored 7 touchdowns, and Cooper and Surratt combined for 8 yards. Absurd. That's a team that just wins. They don't even need their 2 best offensive weapons to win. And they won by 50. They're going to be just fine. I'm not worried about hanging with Ohio State. I'm worried about, can we win that game day of? So that's what's going to matter.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, Mendoza looked good too. 4 total touchdowns for the kid. Heisman Mendoza campaign reigns on. It was funny because we did that live reaction in the stands. I was like, not a great day for the Heisman Mendoza campaign. And then basically immediately rips that 60-yard bomb that EJ
Williams. As that video is posting.
Like, I do that all the time. It's the reverse jinx method. Works all the time. It's great. Yeah, love to see it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Offensive helmet stickers. EJ,
DJ
obviously.
Williams, Coogan. I saw Coogan get a pancake, and then
Coogan buried somebody.
yeah, Fernando had a good game. I'll give one to Fernando.
Stephen Daly pancaked somebody too. Absolutely bulldozed someone.
I love when they put Daly in at fullback. It's great. Reminds me of UCLA would actually do the same thing when they had Miles Jack. They'd bring in Kenny Clark, who's currently on the Cowboys, was in that Micah Parsons trade, and then Eddie Vanderdoes, who had a good couple years with the Raiders. Those would be the two fullbacks, and obviously Miles Jack is 6'3", 230 NFL linebacker with 4.4 speed. So that lineup worked out pretty well for them, and I just like the idea of just using your best athletes and put them in there as blockers is not a bad idea by any means. They're not going to get hurt, knock on wood, but it's football. Like it's just as risky as any other football play. So to put them in there for an extra blocker is never a bad thing. So love seeing that. Love seeing the creativity from the coaching staff and really maximizing their personnel.
Yeah, and then both coordinators were absolutely in their bags, but Shanahan called a hell of a game again. The dude's absolutely on fire. They were just they just execute. Like, they have good plays, they have good players, and they play a really exciting brand of football. It's just, again, I'll say it again. If you haven't been back to Bloomington, get back and go watch this team play. And then we were leaving the stadium, we ran into the Hoosier, which was awesome. I think that's where we got into trouble because we ended up upstairs at Roy's, and that was I think that was where it all went downhill. But yeah, what an absolutely unreal weekend. Hell of a time. I can't wait to get back. I wish there were 5 more home games I could get to. So I don't think I'll be able to turn around for Wisconsin, but I'm going to try and make it out for the Big Ten championship. We'll see.
100%.
That'll be that's the Indiana sports equinox as we get one right now.
Oh, for sure. Maybe we can catch a soccer game. Figure it out.
That'd be sweet.